Hey guys, Joe here, bringing you my OTS winning deck profile. This was from Saturday, the Garden City OTS, Pandemonium. So, played Dragunity Rulers. Got 3 of the dragons. No title, because there's really no room and he serves no purpose. 3 ducks, because, you know, combos. 2 phalanx, that's all you need. 1 mistletoe for big combos, and when they Veiler your ducks, you can still drop your Stardust. 1 Flammable Guard. I like the 4th Fire. I like the 3rd Tuner. The 3rd Cards of Consonance target, and 2000 defense doesn't hurt either. 1 Red Eyes. I might end up cutting this, but for this event I left it in. I didn't want to switch up my build last minute and just misplay because I wasn't used to it. So 1 Gold Arc. 2 Terraforming, as well as 3 Ravines. I played triple Cards of Consonance. I've never had this 2 dead. Like, sometimes the 3rd copy, if you draw through your whole deck, the 3rd copy will be dead. But, you know, if you're going through your whole deck, you'll have enough advantage that it really doesn't matter. You can pitch it for Ravine anyway. 3 Swords. It's broken. 3 Upstarts for the 37 card deck. I'm not a fan of Reckless, but I do like the Upstart. But I always side them out. For traps, I played Warning, Bottomless, and Compulse. I was almost about to cut the Bottomless for like Ryuki Break or Phoenix, but I didn't. And I don't know. I play a lot of rogue decks, so the Bottomless worked out really good. 2 Mirror Force. Number 1 card of the day, probably. Nobody ever saw this coming, and it cleared a lot of Crimson Bladers versus Prophecy. I hit 2 Priestess and a Kaiku. I don't know. It put in work. No one sees it coming. The 2 Emptiness, because this card's just super good. Stardust plus this and protection. It's probably a good game. And the instant win card. So I'll do my extra next. It's mostly standard, but there's a few variations. Sorry, it's not sorted. So I got 3 Vajrayana. I'm a firm believer that you do need 3 for the grind game. The 3rd one really matters. The 1 Gatorg. This card's important for certain combos where if you don't want the Phalanx on board after you make the Atom, you might as well make the Gatorg so you can, you know, pull your next Ducks or pitch a Dragon. Or just deck thin the Flamvel or a Phalanx, something like that. It's also really good for when you go Ducks Phalanx and you declare Phalanx, they max CU. So you put Phalanx onto the field, they go neutral, and rather than going off and letting them draw a whole lot of cards, you can make Gatorg, they go +1, but you pull your next Ducks, so regardless of the field spell getting spaced, you're set up for next turn, and this is still a 2400 attacker with back row. That's still a pretty decent field. For 8s, I play Scrap, Colossal, Archfiend, Stardust, and Crimson. Just 1 of each. I've only ever had 1 situation where I wanted 2 Stardusts, and that happened after the event. And I've only ever had 1 situation where I wanted 2 Bladers. And for the most part, I feel like if you need the 2nd Blader, you're in such a grind game that you can probably win without it, but the Blader would just put you in... You'd basically win right there. But I don't think that happens enough to warrant taking something out for the 2nd Blader, but that's just me. I play the Atom, sort of obligatory. The Charger for the Atom as well was just piercing things for games sometimes. The standard Big Eye and 2 Draco Sacks, and then I also play Master Blades. I know most people don't play this, but I've had this card in the last 2 weeks of testing this deck. It's single-handedly won me several matches. I played against Constellars about a week ago, and their field was something like Pleiades with like no back row, and they had like 1 in hand. And I had like no hand, no back row, and I dropped 2 dragons on board, asked for a response, and they said no, because they figured I'd either swing with my blaster and they'd bounce it, and I had a Redox in defense, or I'd overlay and they'd bounce it. So I overlaid into this, they can't do anything, I win the game. And my evilswarm matchup, they played the weird level 5 that lets you take control of your opponent's monsters. So I dropped Master, and that won me that game as well. Plus, it being an Earth can just come in handy sometimes if you need to fill your grave back up. And then my side deck, it's relatively standard, 2C and 2 Veiler. I do like the Veiler. I'm not a fan of Max C without things to draw into. And I really like Veiler versus the Prophecy matchup. The 1 Crow, you can search it off Gatorg, so you really only need 1. If you hit the right thing with it at the right time, you probably secure game. The 1 Scarecrow, just to draw into something off Max C. 3 Space Typhoons, because you don't main them. You need them for Mirror Match and spellbooks, hitting the field spell. You need it for, like, heavy back row decks. When they Fiendish chain your ducks, you chain your space, things like that. 2 Encores for Ophion. Needle Sealing for Infernities. And other, you know, spammy decks. And then Decrees for anything heavy back row. So I'll cover my matchups really quick, and then I'll get into certain specifics about the day. Round 1, I played Dragons. He was playing not the plant build, but just the pure Dragunity Ruler build, or not Dragunity Ruler, pure Dragon Ruler build. He won game 1, I won game 2, and then we tied, because Dragon Mirror Match, it's super fun like that. So I started out the day with a tie. Round 2, I played Spellbooks. I wasn't really prepared for spellbooks because I hadn't been play testing against them enough, because I just never play because I'm lazy. He was playing the Maiden build, and I really didn't know how to play against it, so I was kind of going slow, thinking my plays through a lot, and I eventually came up with a strategy to clear the Maiden and the Blue Eyes that it brought out, and an early game Mirror Force on double Kaiku put me in enough advantage beforehand that there wasn't really much he could do to get out of it. I 2-0'd him. Game 2 he just opened bad and I opened amazing, and he really didn't have a chance. So 2-0'd him. Round 3 I played against Battling Boxers. I don't really know what could have happened in this matchup because he drew extremely badly both games. He only saw like 3 monsters total. One of them was a teched Mass Chameleon, so he couldn't even go into like Elidio ever. Game 1, I opened completely stupid. I resolved Swords, all 3 cards of Consonants, Terraforming, Sark in 1 turn. Ended with like a Stardust and 4 back row. And then, Game 2, I flipped up a Decree when he had 4 set, and sort of just secured game from there. Round 4, I played Evilswarm. And Game 1, he turned 1 Ophion. I had the Blaster ready. I put Stardust and a couple back row on board, and just proceeded to win. He went Caster for Kirkion, and then Kirkion to 3rd monster, and I flipped up an Emptiness. And I think at that point I had Stardust, Colossal, 2 back row, and an Emptiness, and he had 3 attack mode Evil Swarms, so he scooped. Game 2, I opened up double Encore and a Veiler, thinking I'm all ready for the Ophion, and he proceeds to not make an Ophion the whole game. But as I said, he made the weird level 5 guy that says when it like leaves the field, take control of an opponent's face-up monster. So he tried to shrink my Stardust to kill it, to take something else. I compulsed the attack or something like that. And then the next turn I tributed my Stardust and something else for a dragon, so that all I had was 2 dragons. I hit with I made a Master Blades, swung over his caster, and then all we had was the dude that says if it leaves the field to take one of my monsters. So I passed. I verified that it's a target. He misplayed and attacked it into my master, trying to take it. I told him he can't. He scooped, so I 2-0'd him. Round 5, I played Spellbooks again. He got the game 1 game loss because he was at the bank trying to get some money. Then our game 2 took like 25 minutes. I finally beat him. It was a really, really grindy game. And then round 6, I played a friend from locals. He was playing Samurai. He was 4-1 at that point with Samurai, and everybody was sort of amazed. And this is just a 12-year-old little kid who's really, really good at this game. And I actually was afraid to play him. But I drew really good. He drew Samurai hands, but I just had better outs. 2-0'd him. So at the end of the day, I was 5 wins and a tie, and then second place also had 5 wins and a tie. It was the guy that I tied round 1, and tiebreakers ended up giving me the win. So that's the tournament report and the deck profile. Couple of off-topic things. I'm probably going to cut the bottomless to the side deck and main a 1 over Geki Break, or I might try out the Castle of Dragon Souls. A friend of mine's running it, and he says he really likes it, so I might try that. It seems to have pretty good synergy with Scrap Dragon and Master of Blades and things like that. I was going to set a Legionnaire, but I couldn't find one at the last minute. It's a searchable Ophion out, so if you're having trouble with Ophion, maybe consider that. I think the spellbook matchup is relatively easy as long as you can think through your plays fast enough. You don't misplay. All I side is Veilers and Space Typhoons, and it works out fine for me. Yeah, so that's really it. Thanks for watching. I want to just give thanks to Pandemonium for running the event very, very well. They gave out additional prizes to people that got, you know, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, etc. That they didn't have to do, and it was really cool of them. And it's a great store. I love going there. So if you're in the area and you haven't checked it out, you should definitely visit. Thanks to Konami for doing the whole OTS thing. I think it's a really cool idea. I'm glad you had my invite out of the way. And yeah, thanks for watching. Peace.